Hello there guys, it's actually a little bit cooler. It's amazing. It's about 10 degrees cooler in here. I wouldn't say it's exactly cool, but it's quite pleasant. I've got a boatload of stuff to get on with and I don't know really which to start on first. I've got a lot of little mundane jobs which are not even worth videoing, just maintenance jobs and silly little bits and pieces, but I'm going to try and make a proper start on the Acute Sharpening System kit, and I'll show you the drawing in a minute just to remind you of what we're at. I'm going to make the main table first, shall we say. So the first pieces I'm going to try and get done are, you'll be able to relate that to the drawing in a minute. Let's see if we can get that showing. It's a little 25mm disc. What's the thickness? I don't know, about 6mm. You see I'm having to talk metric. And I've drilled those through clearance 6, and this one is on a 6mm bolt ready to put in the rotary table, because if you can see the circular scribe line, that is to take a small O-ring, which is it's 20mm diameter, so we've got a 19mm circle, and I've got a tiny carbide 2mm ball end, which I'm hoping will do the trick to give me the groove for the O-ring, which will go into about 2/3 depth. We'll hold it with a bit of Loctite, and that's what gives the reliable locking on the table positioning. Now this steel for these pieces, I don't know what the heck it is, but even drilling the hole through, it's sort of nasty, tough, which I guess is better than too soft. But so anyway, what we've done here, I'm sort of set up. The Z drive, by the way, that's on the back burner for now. I think I'll concentrate on getting this sharpening system table set up. So I've done a quick fix here to find my center. I've just used the ball bearing approach and done the math on that, zeroed the DRO. In theory we're on center. So I'm going to change over and put the ball end cutter in there and see what we can do with it. Oh, incidentally, I should be trying all sorts of different camera positions. Hopefully, particularly on the lathe, not getting my fuzzy bald head in the way. I've got a different camera position which may well help. We'll see how we get on anyway. Alright. I've done all the math here, and we picked up on the scribed circle pretty close. Bear in mind this isn't, fortunately, super critical. As long as we can get the O-ring in there and get it secured. If I had a small flat end mill as against the ball, I could actually just mill a regular groove, which might hold the O-ring better. But anyway, I'm going to persevere with this. This is very, very slow. I'm taking slow feeds. It's a tiny mill cutter. So I think what I'll do is I'll just carry on here bit by bit and get this down to a point where it's deep enough. It's probably going to be about 1.5mm deep, which is 3/4 of the thickness of the O-ring. So we're going to go down about 0.59 I should say. Alright, I'm going to zoom back a bit. I think if I have this working zoomed in, it might well decide that it's not totally happy. going to switch off there. You're not going to watch that. It's so slow. I'm having to go by the sound as to how much of a cut I can take, which is not too much. Just a quick bit of handheld. I've just made another pass. Only about 8 or 9 thou. I just don't want to push it with that little cutter. So that's what we're doing there, and this one will take ages, the next one will take even more. A buddy of mine did mention, actually, when I was telling him about this, he said, oh, why not just put a sheet of rubber in? Well, that would probably do, actually, but I wanted to stick to the plans, and the plan says for an O-ring, so that's what I'm going to try. Sorry, jerky handheld. This was, I meant to do this earlier on, just to remind you. These are the locking discs, one each end, and the actual part I'm actually getting a slightly better cut, and I'm oiling as well. I still haven't a clue what this steel is. I'll have to find out, but it's pretty tough stuff, but the oil makes a heck of a difference, and I can get about a 10 thou cut. I don't go any more than that. Like I said before, I'm keeping the feed pretty gentle, going very much by the sound. If the feed becomes a bit excessive, you can start to feel some vibration. With a tiny cutter like this, I don't think it'll survive if I push too hard. So I've got about another, I'm down to 45 thou. I'll go down another, probably just about another 15, and then we'll see if that's about right and do the other one. Alright, so we went down to, I stopped at 59, which is 1.5 mil. It's not worked out too bad, actually, and I think we're pretty close for the O-ring. I can't quite see what I'm doing here, but I think that will that's sitting in the groove. It may not even need any Loctite, and if we look at it sideways, you can see, I think, let me just check. Yeah, you can see there's just a very slight projection, which is all we need, which is going to give the lock up, I hope. I still reckon a rubber disc might have done fine, but as I say, I wanted to follow the plans. So I've got to get the other one done, and then we can get to the lathe and do the couple of aluminum spacers. Alright, there we go. That's got both of the little devils done. O-ring fits nicely. Oops. Fingers in the way. Anyway, those will work. We'll get to the lathe next. Right, we'll get these spacers out of the way. These are supposed to be 60 mil. They're actually just plus by 48 thou, so I'm going to face this end just a smidge, and I've got a new spotting drill here. I'm going to try that instead of a center drill. Plus we'll see if right, I think my head will be out of the way thinking back to that last video. It's now there's a problem. I'm in the way. Can't win. I've got a long series 6. Yeah, this is. How can we avoid the hand in the way? I don't think I can. I've still got to mess around with my different camera setups. It's a long series 6. I'm going to try that, see how it goes. This is actually one that's had some use on hard steel, so it might have lost just its edge. Anyway, I'm going to persevere with that. You don't want to watch that all the way through. Right, I think we're nearly through now on this one. Now I just want to put a bit of a countersink on there and break that edge, and then we'll turn over. I have to remember where my arm is at any given point with this camera angle. Now I'm not sure whether this countersink will tolerate high speed or whether I'll have to do slow. I'll just see. Yeah, that's fine. I did actually recently get some single cut countersinks, and a lot better than the multi-flute things. Just break this here. Alright, now we're going to mark this up to the final length, get a scribe mark the other end, face it, get my countersink chamfer on the other end, and then we'll be done for number 1, and then rinse and repeat. Yeah. Right, that's the other end faced off. What we did there excuse me, what we did there was, seeing as the length is not critical in terms of the odd thou, I marked it up and gave myself a scribe line, set my facing tool to the scribe line, put the stop on the ways, brought that up so I had an end stop, and then just faced that off till it was done. I'm just going to break that edge. So there we are, that's that one. The outside of these pieces is going to stay as is. There's no real reason to turn it down. I suppose I could polish it, but that really is not at all important. I might do that later. So I'm going to get on with the second one, and then we'll see if we can progress from there. Alright, one phase of the project on this is virtually done, well, nearly. I'll give you a reminder again. I've got the camera in a weird new position, so I have no idea how well it'll work really. That's the exploded, and then later on, of course, we'll be progressing to getting all the other bits that go on it. So, with a few tweaks, we've got this assembled. So what we've got here is the 60mm spacer aluminum there, which has been faced and bored through. 6x1 shoulder bolts all the way through each side. Adjustable handle for each top and bottom. And we've got these sliders here, which are for adjusting height and general angle. The top plate here, you'll probably, there's a lot of reflection on here probably. You can see the two slots. They're basically there just as a starter. It depends whether you want that distance or that distance, and then you set a width, so you've got to make a cutout. It may well be actually that this could suit two grinding wheels, one here and one in there, so that's got to be cut out later. These fixing bolts here, these are just, I've got a washer which wasn't actually included, but I decided to add washer, and I've actually got just a slight couple of them just slightly proud on the surface, so those will be tweaked just so that, and I might even find a washer with another 5 thou thickness or something, 10 thou thick, get rid of that. So, and this is flopping all over the place. So if the grinding wheel is, depending where you want to go for angle, that's one angle setting, and then the parallelogram will work across the top. So there's a lot of scope here, plenty of scope for setting up. There are odd little tweaks I have in mind, but in essence that's more or less stage one. And then probably going to move on to the parallelogram next. So I've got a lot of pieces to mark out, and there's a piece on there, let's see if I can find it. There's a piece on there which has got to be milled. This one, it's already spotted I think, but we've got to mill a shelf on that, because that piece and another act as the locking grip around the side of the table. Alright, now before I finish this one, this is on another tack completely. Keith Rucker was showing some bits the other day which included one of these for flat belt. Right, you've got the pin down the middle, and compress the whole thing in the vise, and I've got a boatload of these. Alright, these are the, shall we call, the staggered staples. I've got quite a lot of those. I don't think I shall be using flat belt anymore. I used to. If anybody watching is interested, I thought of putting this on eBay. It's not that unusual an item, it's a little bit corroded. Perfectly functional. If somebody's using flat belts and needs to lace them up, as I say, reiterating, I've probably got 1.5 dozen of these, maybe more, and that's enough to do quite a bit of belt joining. Alright guys, where are we at? The weather. Always the weather. Hang on a minute. I might as well bring my ugly face into shot. Yeah, the weather. Yesterday was very cool, beautiful in here. Today's been glorious sun, fresher air, but too damn hot in here. And tomorrow I think we've got a cold front. I was supposed to be going to a drag race which I was looking forward to, but it looks like we're going to have a lot of rain, maybe some storms, and the day is probably a washout. And the plus side is it probably means I should be in here for a while. It'll be nice and cool. And then as we get into next week, I think by Wednesday we're on the upward slope again, 79, 80, 81. Shouldn't complain because winter's getting awful close. Anyway guys, Acute Sharpening System, stage 1. We've made some progress. So I'll call it a wrap on that, and thanks again to all you kind guys subscribing. I do appreciate it. I don't know what you see in this old fart, but we have some fun and make the odd mistakes and get a few things done. So I'll say goodbye for now, and take care y'all. See you soon. Thanks for watching.